Introducing Midnight Black, a traditional black patina. Now, preparations for this metal has all been done the same for this video. On this piece of aluminum, for example, we used the 220 grit sandpaper on a orbital sander, followed with the Sculpt Nouveau metal cleaner and a Scotch-Brite pad. We will also do this same process on steel, galvanized steel, and copper. Midnight Black works on all metals except for stainless steel. On aluminum, we recommend doing full strength, though you can dilute it with distilled water if you like. As you can see, it reacts relatively fast. So a lot of the times, especially with these black and brown patinas, I like to go in with a Scotch-Brite pad on the first coat, and you can see where it's kind of developed in little spots where it's a little lighter and some areas where it's a little darker. That's very normal for a traditional black patina. So if you Scotch-Brite that first layer, you do remove some of the patina, but the second application of it comes in so much smoother. So it's really worthwhile in my opinion, and you'll see me do that on a lot of these other samples as well. So we'll let that react for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then we'll do a second coat. What you'll find is the second, third, essentially the subsequent coats actually come in much faster. So if you need a longer working time, just dilute it with distilled water. In this specific case, we're going to do 3 applications of the Midnight Black on the aluminum. And there's nothing wrong with just doing 1 or 2 coats. If that gets you the look you're going for, great, just do that. But for this sample, I really wanted a really dark black, and so I went and did 3 applications. But again, it just depends on what you're looking for. So if you want that lighter black, almost like a dark gray, then just do 2 coats. Or if you get it with 1 coat, great. The important thing is don't let it dry on the surface. If you let it dry on the surface, you get all sorts of kind of a secondary reaction and it starts going a little white. So you're better off just making sure it doesn't dry on the surface. And here we're going to go in with the ClearGuard EF matte. And we'll kind of do 2 quick applications of this and get it all sealed in. So now we're going to start with steel, and the steel is not really designed to do a black on steel. We've got a few other options like Black Magic or Slate Black that work phenomenal for that, but what I use it for is when I want kind of that bluish to mill scale look on a piece of cold rolled, right? You can do this on hot rolled, you just got to get the mill scale off first. So here we're starting with cold rolled, and I'm going to put a little more on here just because I see it pulling away from the side and I don't want that. I definitely have over applied on this sample because it keeps wanting to pull away, but you can see now that we rinsed it after it reacted for 3 to 5 minutes, now we've got kind of this bluish oil slick finish, and it's really kind of cool. But from there, we're going to go into galvanized steel. And those of you who are newer in the patina world, galvanized steel and zinc react exactly the same. Vastly different metals, but essentially it's the zinc it's reacting with on the galvanized steel. So you're going to get a very similar finish on zinc as you do galvanized steel. And we don't really get a black on galvanized steel either. For that one, I usually go to like antiquing, which is kind of opposite of what you think. But what galvanized steel gives you with the Midnight Black is a really nice kind of almost a bronzish, but it's kind of just like a warm brown that worked out really nicely. And even though I don't show it on camera, I do Scotch-Brite that first coat, so that's why it looks so light on that second application. But I really like doing that just to kind of even things up a little bit more. Totally fine if you don't want to and you want it more mottled. But in this application, we did do 2 applications and we Scotch-Brited the first coat. And we're just going to put a little bit of ClearGuard EF matte on there again. And you can see we kind of have it looks at almost like a darkened brass here. But you'll see when we show the final pictures at the end, it kind of gives off a nice dark brown. I mentioned dilution a little bit earlier, and here we're going to do a 50% dilution. So this is 50% patina, 50% distilled water, or a 1-to-1 ratio, and we're going to do this on our copper metal. And the reason why is it's almost a little too strong for copper, and you can see where it reacted so fast in the other metals. There's definitely an argument to be said for diluting it before you do it as well. So just do a quick little sample so you know how concentrated you want it. You can see even at a 50% ratio, it reacts very fast, and you'll see this brown come in earlier on. And here comes the Scotch-Brite pad just to even things out a little bit more. Huge fan of it in case you haven't caught on. And we'll do 3 coats of this as well. But even at 3 coats of 50% dilution, you're using not that much material. So why 3 coats then? And why dilute it? Why not do full strength? Well, there's a good reason. One, I did 3 coats because that's how dark I wanted it. I wanted it almost a near black when I was done. But I could have done full strength, but I don't think it gives you the working time that is really needed to get a good solid finish. If I wanted something really mottled, yeah, I could absolutely knock this out 1 coat and just rinse it in a very short amount of time. But I try and show these things off like you're going to use it in the field. It's very easy to do a 6x6 inch sample, but what about when you need to do a 3x2 foot piece of copper? Well, that's where the dilution comes in handy, and so that's why I want to show that. So I diluted it 50%, and then we just did 3 coats, and we've got a really nice, it looks dark gray here, but it is much darker in person. The wait is over, time to look at our samples. Here we have aluminum. Next we'll have steel, and I really liked how this blue kind of came through. But next we have the galvanized steel, and again this will be very similar on zinc. And then finally our copper finish. Midnight Black is available at www.sculptnouveau.com or by calling us at 760-432-8242.